"You don't own this land anymore, Mr. Wade." That's what she said, standing right on my property, holding a tablet like it was a sword. Imagine coming home after 6 months away, 6 months spent sleeping on a hospital cot 3 states over, holding my mother's hand as she faded away. And the first thing you hear before you even put your bags down is a stranger telling you your land isn't yours anymore, because of paperwork she swears you signed. Yeah, let that sink in. The thing is, after 20 years as an insurance investigator, you develop a nose for fraud. I mean, you can practically smell it before you see it. That day, the stench was everywhere. Wrong color of soil fence lines that weren't where I left them, and a community enhancement pond sprawling across the front third of my property, glinting in the afternoon sun like it owned the place. If you're reading this on your phone or laptop, buckle up, because what came next might be the most satisfying legal takedown I've ever witnessed. And trust me, I've seen a few. Driving home felt like it took a year. After all those months in hospitals, time moves different, stretched thin and sharp with grief. My mom passed just 3 weeks before. Her funeral was small, but the ache she left behind was anything but. All I wanted was to come home, to see my ranch, to touch the dirt and remember there's still solid ground under my feet. The highway was the same, every curve an old grain silo, a reminder of life before. But that shimmer of water where it shouldn't be, that was new, and it twisted my gut. I pulled into the drive, gravel crunching, and just stared. There it was, a man-made pond. Perfect stone border filtration, humming benches like a little park in the middle of nowhere. Fresh sod, blooming plants, everything looking expensive. And not one bit of it, nothing was mine by choice. My boots sank into soft ground earth, disturbed and mulched. The fence posts, the ones I put in with my own hands, gone. New posts set several feet further back. Somebody moved my boundary. And by the look of the equipment ruts and heavy soil, they didn't do it alone. This had taken weeks, maybe months. "Mr. Wade," a voice from behind sharp rehearsed. I turned. Middle-aged woman, business casual, tablet hugged to her chest like a shield. Daphne Caldwell, HOA president. That look in her eyes, I'd seen it 1,000 times. People who believe they're right, period. She smiled, but it didn't hit her eyes. I know this must be a surprise, but everything was done by the book. Community meeting permits documentation, your signature on the consent form. She flipped the tablet around. There it was, some digital scrawl that almost looked like mine. Almost. I've signed thousands of documents. Every loop, every slant is muscle memory. This, not even close. "When was this signed?" I asked, not moving. "March 15th, she said. I shook my head, remembering where I was that week, Colorado, next to my mom's bed, praying for just one more day. No way I signed anything. "I was out of state," I said, voice flat. "Didn't sign this." Her smile tightened, edges sharpening. "Signatures on file, Mr. Wade. If you have concerns, attend the next HOA meeting, but the pond's community property now." I asked for the paperwork. "Available through proper channels," she snapped. I told her I'd use those channels. She didn't like that her mask slipped just a bit. Fighting this would be a waste of everyone's resources, including yours. That little threat. People like her always think a confident voice and a mountain of paper mean no one will push back. They hadn't met me. I headed inside, dropped my keys, and went straight to my office. Out came the deed survey maps, title insurance, every scrap of HOA correspondence. Spread it all out, checked dates, checked details. My gut wasn't wrong, nothing lined up. My property lines hadn't changed, my consent didn't exist, and the so-called permit issued while I was 600 miles away. I'd seen cover-ups before, watched people fudge the details because they figured nobody was watching. They thought I'd be too tired, too broken to fight. They didn't know me. Next morning, I started the investigation like any other. Spread the documents, mapped the timeline. My original survey, the deed from 12 years ago, everything matching but the county's new map, which now showed the pond half on common area. Yeah, right. The dates didn't add up. I checked for notifications, nothing. No emails, no letters, not even a flyer on my porch. The neighbor who collected my mail, only bills and junk. If they'd sent a notice, it never reached me. I called Estelle Brennan, my neighbor, 3 properties down. She'd been around forever, way before the HOA expanded. If anybody knew what happened, it'd be her. They started in April, she said when I got to her kitchen, coffee cooling between us. Daphne came by, said you'd approved it all. Had paperwork. Most didn't question. I clenched my jaw. I never approved anything. She just nodded. Didn't think so. But she's not someone you cross. Her brother-in-law owns the construction company. Called an emergency meeting when half the neighborhood was out of town. Vote passed barely. Emergency meeting fast-tracked approval, absent owners. All classic railroad tactics. When I pressed about notification, Estelle shook her head. Sent to old addresses, wrong emails. I brought it up, but Daphne said it was our job to update info. Every detail stacked up. This wasn't some sloppy mistake. It was deliberate. Would you testify if I challenged it? I asked. Absolutely. What they did wasn't right. I thanked her, warning her to be careful. Daphne didn't like losing. She's got the board in her pocket. I told her I'd handled worse. People in power always think they're untouchable until the paperwork tells a different story. Back home, I filed an official records request with the county, reviewed every bylaw I'd ever signed. Major projects required 30 days, written notice by certified mail. No shortcuts even for emergencies. I reached out to an old contact, Marcus Callahan, a real estate attorney I'd worked with years ago. He was in ready to go. I got the permit copies, and the forgery was obvious even before the forensic examiner saw it. The email on the form, close to mine, but not my real one. It was a detail someone faking things might overlook. Marcus connected me with Dr. Rowan Fletcher, a forensic document examiner. He compared my real signatures, 12 years worth, with the permit. This is a forgery, he said flat out. The biomechanics are wrong. Whoever did this had a sample but not the skill. Marcus got a full report, set up the next steps, a land survey and formal demand for HOA records. The land surveyor was thorough, found the pond sat completely within my property, not on common ground. The fence had been moved to cover up the encroachment. Marcus filed a demand letter, remove the structure, pay damages, or see us in court. The HOA board doubled down, tried to hand-wave the forensic report, but their own documents betrayed them. Notifications sent to the wrong address, mail dated after the meeting, email bounces unaddressed. Estelle and 2 other homeowners hadn't been notified either. The pattern of abuse was clear. With mounting evidence, we got a temporary restraining order barring the HOA from using the pond. At the emergency board meeting, I stood in front of the community, projected side-by-side images of my signature, and the forgery, walked everyone through the survey results, the notification failures, the timeline proving I was out of state. People in the audience, neighbors I barely knew, spoke up, confirming they'd been excluded too. When I asked about the notary, Daphne choked. Turns out the documentation came from her brother-in-law's company. It all unraveled fast. The meeting ended with calls for her resignation. The final court hearing was decisive. The judge listened to our experts, reviewed the evidence, and ruled forged signature, invalid permit, improper notification. The pond had to go, the property restored, legal fees paid in full. Daphne resigned, vanished from the community, and her brother-in-law's company quietly settled. Watching the demolition felt honestly right. Not sweet, not triumphant, just like justice, real and solid. The contractors removed every stone, restored my land, reinstalled the fence where it always belonged. The HOA rewrote its bylaws, brought in auditors, started over, without the arrogance that got them here. The new board president even asked me to help with reforms. I said no. They had to do it right themselves. When it was done, I stood on my porch grass, growing where the pond used to be, and felt the ground finally belonged to me again. The lesson, rights, and procedures aren't just red tape, they're protection from people who think confidence trumps consent. The system only works if you make it work one document at a time. So here's my advice to you, whether you own land, a condo, or just a little patch of green, document everything. Know your rights. Don't let anyone in a position of authority tell you you're powerless. The truth matters, even when it feels like you're the only one fighting for it. And now I want to hear from you. Ever faced an HOA nightmare or won a fight nobody thought you could win? Was justice served, or did the system let you down? Drop your story in the comments. Let's see where you stand on what's right, what's wrong, and whether the little guy can still win. If you found this story worth your time, hit that like button, share your thoughts below, and subscribe for more stories where the good guys sometimes get the last word.